The back door creaked open, a rusty groan swallowed by the booming music vibrating through the house. I peeked inside, heart hammering a frantic rhythm against my ribs. There, on the worn leather couch, sprawled Tiffany, a vision in red, tangled with Mr. Wrinkles, our neighbor. A man twice her age, and whose smile held a hint of something predatory. My breath caught. Ethan's wails, ignored and echoing from upstairs, were a spike of ice in my gut. Disgust churned. At Tiffany's betrayal. At my parents' blindness. At the scene unfolding before me. But before I could react, a primal urge for escape took hold. I slipped back out the door, tears stinging my eyes. The image of their twisted embrace burned into my memory. This wasn't the family I yearned for. This isn't your typical love story. It's about betrayal, family drama, and finding strength when you least expect it. So, here I am, Scarlett, all of 16 years old, living a life that went from picture perfect to downright painful, faster than a dropped ice cream cone melting on a hot summer day. I wasn't spoiled like a princess, but things were good. My parents loved my older sister, Tiffany, and gave her everything she wanted. I loved her too, but sometimes it felt like there wasn't enough love for me. Then, things got crazy. Tiffany got pregnant at 18. My parents were not happy. But guess what? Suddenly, I was the special one. They needed a place for the baby, Ethan, and his dad, Chad, who seemed to like the gym more than work. So I kind of got promoted to be an aunt, even though I wasn't really one yet. My parents promised to cover my expenses until I turned 18, a promise that turned out to be about as reliable as a used car salesman with a smile too wide. Soon, the calls stopped, the texts went unanswered, and I was left feeling like yesterday's newspaper, forgotten and tossed aside. Here's where my amazing Aunt Martha comes in. You know those aunts who bake the best cookies and have hearts bigger than Texas? That's Aunt Martha. When she found out the real reason behind my surprise move-in, sparks flew from her eyes faster than a Roman candle on the 4th of July. Turns out, my dear old dad had spun a whopper of a tale, telling her I was practically begging to move in. Let's just say Aunt Martha wasn't exactly impressed with their parenting skills. Life with Aunt Martha was a breath of fresh air. She treated me like a daughter, not a burden. However, a part of me still yearned for my parents' love. One sunny afternoon, Aunt Martha offered to take me back to the house to pick up some of my things that held memories, good and bad. We agreed that she'd wait in the car, while I braved the lion's den, aka my childhood home. A loud, thumping music vibrated from the house as I approached. Knocking went unanswered, so thinking maybe they were in the backyard, I decided to try the back door. Big mistake. The sight that greeted me was enough to make your jaw drop lower than a dropped ice cream cone hitting the pavement. There was Tiffany sprawled out on the couch, all dolled up with none other than Mr. Wrinkles, our creepy 65-year-old neighbor, getting a little too friendly. And the worst part? Little Ethan was wailing upstairs, completely ignored. The sound of his cries stabbed at my heart like a rusty nail. Mr. Wrinkles was completely naked, his eyes closed in ecstasy, and my sister was on top making strange sounds. She had her hands and her mouth doing disgusting things. He ran his fingers through her hair, a tortured smile playing on his lips. She traced her nails along the wrinkles etched onto his thighs and tummy, each line a story whispered by time. They were disgusting, these marks. In their moment of passion, they were dead to the world around them. The loud music enveloped them in their sinful moment. Disgust filled my mouth like a bad piece of candy. Tiffany, my own sister, was using this man for money, not caring about her own child. The anger and disappointment I felt towards my parents for always favoring her bubbled up in my chest, threatening to overflow. But before I could unleash a verbal tirade worthy of a Shakespearean play, I quietly slipped out, leaving the scene behind. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the world around me, All I wanted was a family who loved me for who I was, not what I could offer. When I told my parents about what I saw, well, let's just say they didn't exactly win any Parent of the Year awards. They brushed it off as a jealous outburst, refusing to believe their precious Tiffany would do such a thing. Weeks went by, and one day my parents came home to a house eerily quiet. Tiffany was gone, and with her went everything my parents owned. She had sold off everything, but she was kind enough to leave her baby behind. No note, no explanation, just an empty house and a baby lying on the cold floor. Even the baby's cradle was gone. The truth finally hit them, not like a gentle tap, but a sledgehammer blow. My parents may have lost their favorite daughter, but they lost me too. I wasn't going to chase after their love anymore. Aunt Martha and I built a life filled with warmth and laughter. A real family, even if it wasn't the one I was born into.